Hey, how's it going, everybody? I am Artorigold, and wow, we got quite a lot to go over today, don't we, Cloud? We got Overwatch 2 beta
Overwatch
access.
2,
We're
it's
playing
here.
it. It's amazing. All the stuff is here. The game's crazy. We got so much to talk about. All the tank and DPS changes are out of this world. It blew my. I mean, it's great. I wasn't expecting much. Like at the beginning, I was like, one new hero, what do we got
Yeah,
really? No 2 CP, no new hero. I was a little pessimistic, but at the same time, that was good because if my expectations are set low, right? Which is a good thing.
yeah,
So
which
now
it
we get
should
in
be
here.
based off our past experience.
Oh, absolutely with Overwatch especially. But now it's just so good.
Pleasantly surprising.
Very
The
surprising.
balance is very
I'm
much in the
not
right
shooting at
direction.
shields all game long. I mean, it's amazing.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
it's a
It feels like
completely
everybody's
different game.
playing the same game.
It's it's different. It's so different now. Overwatch 1, Overwatch 2, it's fucking with my head completely. Um, so
It's different, but it's still the same.
let's go over a lot of the changes here a little bit. So
Mhm,
I guess we could start with, obviously we have 5 people instead of 6, one less
mhm.
tank. I'm gonna say that this was a great change. The fights feel so much better,
I
less
agree.
chaotic. The tanks definitely are stronger. They're actually fun to play now. They're stronger, they stay alive a
Mhm.
lot longer, but it's not too overpowered. I don't think it's hard to say with only been able to play like a day basically, but they don't feel overpowered to me. I think that it's really balanced. I haven't played all of the tanks though. I think both of us have had like we I don't think either of us have played like Diva, right?
Yeah, no
Um
diva time for me.
I think the
Not
biggest
yet.
thing and is Orisa. Like everybody's playing
Oh, yeah.
Orisa. Everybody loves Orisa. The changes of Orisa are insanely fun, and it's what everybody is playing right now. I think this hero alone has saved the tank role. Honestly.
Yes. Yeah, I honestly go before getting into the beta,
Mhm.
I didn't wanna play tank at all. It was just like, no.
Yeah.
It was just completely unappealing to play that role going into Overwatch 2, but seeing the Orisa changes made me go, "Okay, I'll give it a try." And I
Yeah.
gave it a try, and it feels weird being like, "I want to play Orisa.
Yeah.
I
That's
wanna
a
play this
weird
character."
sentence, isn't it? That's a
Yeah,
weird ass sentence.
but it feels good. It feels like Orisa, whereas before felt like Orisa was just kind of copying just with the anchor tank, like the anchor shield, it
It was
just
miserable to
oh,
play
it's just
against
another
Orisa.
shield. But like now her kit feels unique and
Very.
attuned to that character itself, and it feels fun.
Yeah. If this is what characters are going to be like in the tank section in the future, I am very happy. This is how tank characters should play. People should want to play a character, and Orisa, I mean, it's fun. It's just so much fun. Um, First off, I guess we could talk a little bit about her changes really quickly for those who don't know, maybe, or tuning in. Her left click, it has infinite ammo now. You no longer have to reload. I will say reloading on Orisa always really sucked. Getting rid of
Yeah,
that
it
is
was
great.
very hard to find the right timing with it.
Yeah, it was fun to be able to just like sit there and just shoot. Like that was what was fun with
Hmm.
Orisa. It still is fun with Orisa, just
Adding that
constantly shooting.
cooldown management was a very nice
The
touch
heat
because that
feature.
requires some thinking while you're playing. It's not just okay. Oh, buttons like because you could just sit there and reload like
Mhm.
if you wanted, like just shoot all your bullets and just auto reload. But the actual heat and cooldown aspect adds that extra level of depth to like the
Yeah.
actual playstyle. It's more interactive versus just let me sit there. Because Orisa was just let me drop my shield, let me stay completely still, let me fortify, slows down my move speed, stay completely still, let me just sit here and hold left click down this choke. But now it's a very interactive playstyle with just starting from the basis of the left click.
And another fun thing with the heat is another one of her abilities, her fortify. If you use that, it reduces the heat by 50%. So you can use fortify kind of in an aggressive way to continue shooting as well, because it makes it
Hmm.
so you don't get, what do you call it, like the burnout, or you overheat, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
overheat.
So when that happens, you can just keep going with Fortify. It's great to know that there's that small little nuance with her other abilities that work together. So you have kind of these
Hmm.
cool little tiny little decisions you can make, and you can I don't know. There's a lot of little microing I guess you can do with it. I really like that. That her kit is very there's lots of synergy with it. Her left click feels really good, not too strong, not too weak, and being able to shoot it is fantastic. I love the way it sounds. The sound design on all of the guns, by the way, in general, are amazing. Something about all of
Yeah,
these new
for real.
sound
The
effects.
sound's very
Oh,
good.
it's very satisfying to hit people with these shots. It feels really good. One of my favorite abilities, of course, is the javelin that you're now throwing with your right click. It feels really satisfying to hit them with that.
Hmm.
Does a lot of good damage, not overpowered, basically a really fast Sigma rock, I guess is the best way to put it. It stuns people if you hit them, but not a long stun. It's literally like zero point 0.2 seconds, knocks them back just a tiny bit. Very rewarding though, because if they hit a wall, then they get a little bit of bonus damage and get stunned for a little bit more. But you can throw
Hmm.
this thing pretty often. It feels great to use that. Then, of course, you have the Fortify, which is pretty much the same, except it has that heat effect to it and gives you bonus health when you use it. So her survivability is even crazier. And she kind of needs that because she doesn't have the shield anymore. And that's a big thing about Overwatch 2 in general. There's very little shields. Very little shields going on. And that is a good thing in my book. It is exactly how
Oh,
I want to play
absolutely.
Overwatch. Less
Absolutely.
shields. Her E ability is the Javelin spin, which is also really funny. You spin your little thing around in a circle, deflecting and not deflecting, but basically absorbing
Just
or destroying.
yeah.
And you can go in and also knock people around to do damage to them. It's really fun. And her ultimate's a blast. I love her ultimate. I wish every ultimate was like this. Like Winston ults and Doomfist ult and like all these other tank ults feel bad because Orisa's ult feels so fun to use. And that's crazy.
I think Winston Ult's still pretty fun to use. Just knock people
Uh
around.
it's fun, but honestly, it doesn't for me personally, it doesn't even compare to Orisa. Like Orisa
It
is
doesn't
so fun.
really add a lot. You know, it's more so just you're enhancing the play style of Monkey. Of I like jumping in and displacing,
Mhm.
so I'm just going to do it faster. This is like completely different from the rest of her kit.
Oh yeah, there's a big difference with the ult. Just bringing everybody in, being fortified, bringing everybody in, and then doing a bunch of damage to everybody. Whew, I love it. I love it. It's just so fun. And of course, it synergizes well with some of her other abilities because you can use your E to like move faster, get in and engage with your fortify, maybe even stun somebody and then get a nice little ult off. I mean, there's a bunch of combo potential. We've seen people use things like the new Bastion ult into it, which is pretty cool. They basically just
And
do it right on top of it, and
yeah,
it just
you've
does
seen
so much damage.
Sojourn slow with
Sojourn,
it. That
yeah, her
was
new E.
extremely impactful.
Oof. I really like the tank role. It's actually my most played role, I think, in Overwatch 2 is the tank role. And I think everybody who has played Overwatch feels the same way. Because if you look at the queue times, it's like the longest queue time. You think it'd be
Yeah,
DPS, but it's
10
not.
minutes plus.
Yeah. DPS used to be the most played and most longest queue, but it's now tank, I think. Everybody wants to play tank, and I don't blame them. I've never had so much fun playing tank before. Um, and it's balanced. It doesn't feel bad. Like on the other side of the things, when you're playing DPS, it doesn't feel like crazy oppressive. Overwatch 1 tanks feel worse than Overwatch 2 tanks, and that's crazy when you think about it. Because the tanks are so much stronger in Overwatch 2. But the fact is that none of them really have shields. Sigma has a shield a little bit, Ryan has a shield, but those all got nerfed. They buffed everything else, but they nerfed all the shields. And it feels great. I mean, I'm just having a blast with the tank role. Um, I think DPS players who only want to play DPS really got to switch it up and try out tank. They'd probably fall in love with it. Because
For real,
I
because
know a few people like
Overwatch
that.
2 tanks are just they're completely different from Overwatch 1.
Very different. Honestly, that is the sequel effect. That when I was thinking, because we always made the joke, oh, this isn't Overwatch 2. This is Overwatch 1.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
When it comes to tanks, I think that's Overwatch 2. If every role had that same treatment, then we would be goaded out of the fucking minds. And we'll get to that because I do think that that's where some of the problems lie is the support role has zero
Yeah,
changes.
yeah,
But
because
before we get
DPS, like
DPS is good. It's decent.
they feel a little better. You can
Yeah.
feel the effects, but you're still like, yeah, it still kind of feels a lot like Overwatch One.
There's a
But the
lot of things
supports
unchanged.
are actually stuck in Overwatch One.
Yeah, support is in a rough spot. This is what I guess you would call the tank patch, right? This is like if the
Hmm.
support's got the same treatment as the tanks do in a different beta wave, which it is entirely possible because they are releasing a new support hero in a future beta wave, and I'm imagining maybe they even have some sort of support rework for some of these
Yeah,
heroes as
maybe
well.
maybe they
So
rework Sombra or not Sombra, Symmetra.
Symmetra to a healer, that would be fucking
Yeah,
amazing. I would love that.
maybe that's why they didn't give her changes.
Because nobody's play. Let's be honest. I haven't seen like many people play any of those heroes like Torbjorn. People aren't playing like Torbjorn. People aren't playing Symmetra because there is a lot of DPS characters with changes, and like, why are people playing those characters, right? Because some of the
Hmm.
characters are completely untouched. Tank role though, you guys gotta play tank if you are a DPS player. Because I know I have some friends that will only play DPS no matter what. I don't only want to do damage. I only want to do damage. Play tank.
I only want to play
Trust me.
Genji.
Yeah, I want to play Javelin. Dude, trust me, play tank. It is so fucking fun right now. Let's go over quickly some of the other changes. Orisa's perfect. I love it. I don't think I would change
Mhm.
anything on Orisa.
Just
Maybe,
Doomfist. I, I
yeah.
I really
I don't think you
I
would
really
change
like
anything
the
with Orisa. Do you
dynamic
think she's
between them.
balanced?
Mm, That's tough to say. It's hard to
So
say
really,
if it's Orisa is too good compared to the other tanks, or if the other tanks need a little catching up. Now, I
hmm.
definitely think Roadhog needs some
Well, that
catching up.
is
They need to
definitely
that they've
something.
got a lot they need to
Yeah.
do with that. They
That's a
need
whole
to,
podcast episode to talk
yeah.
about Roadhog. I mean,
I
him
feel like
and the
Monkey also
supports.
needs something a little bit more.
They did give him his new right click, which is kind of fun. I mean,
Hey,
I do like
I mean, it
it.
gives you something when you're sitting with your team waiting to engage and you want to poke.
You
That's
can,
good. He
yeah,
needs that in this state of Overwatch 2.
you can
But he
combine
needs
it
a
with his
little
melee
more. He
cancel
needs
though.
something.
You could combine it with the melee cancel to try to do like a really nice like so you do the leap damage melee cancel thing and that does a little bit of extra damage. You can combine that with a charged right click to add a little bit of extra burst damage to a target, but ultimately I don't think it matters because from what I'm seeing, it's Moira meta. Ain't no Moira
Mhm.
dying to that Winston combo. And
That is true.
that's where the problem, like, I mean, I don't know, it's crazy to say it, but Moira actually might be the fucking meta pick here, especially for solo
At
queue.
least for right now, because at the
I don't know the
moment
games
we
I've
are
played. Yeah.
definitely in a brawler meta. Like
Brawler meta, Lucio meta for
brawling
sure.
is the meta right now.
And Lucio ain't dying to that shit either, right? Lucio
Yeah,
is gonna have a tough time dying to that.
honestly, getting his own heals on top of the additional passive healing
hmm
that supports get, like he basically gets
He can just stay on
wall
speed.
riding speed while also getting heals because it's so
Yeah,
hard to hit a Lucio as is.
very
So he's
true.
gonna get that passive healing triggering a lot.
I do think that the Winston is a fun hero. I like his new little right click. It's a tiny little little taser. But he definitely feels weak, but not terrible. Definitely not as bad as Roadhog, I don't think. I do think he
Yeah,
could be pretty
Roadhog's
good
definitely in
against.
a really bad state right
Yeah. I do think he could be a little bit better of a pick maybe against Genji because I do think that without any like stuns, Genji is able to roam free. And
now.
Winston
Definitely.
can sit on top of him a little bit, and the right click helps that if he tries to dash away maybe, but it's still not that great. Some of the other things in the tank section here that I can go over real quickly. Let's see. We have Sigma. Sigma got a pretty big buff. His rock got 30 extra damage to it. It does 100 damage now. I haven't played much of Sigma, but I will say I think Sigma is very good. His rock change was huge. If you hit a rock on somebody, they die from a left click. Like it's just done. Like rock,
Yeah,
left click on
I
squishy, they're done. But not many people are playing Sigma right now because it is like day one. Everybody wants to do Doomfist and Orisa. So I completely get it. But let me tell you, if people start choosing Sigma, I think he's going to be insanely good. Sigma is not only really strong, I also have to say Wrecking Ball feels really good on the new maps. Wrecking Ball is really tough to lock down. Because as you know, a lot of the stuns were removed. We don't have the flashbang anymore. We don't have the Brig stun anymore. So characters who have really high mobility, such as Wrecking Ball, are very difficult to get locked down. And that makes the new hero Sombra, well, not necessarily new, but the new rework on Sombra. She's kind of a must pick. I think Sombra is definitely really the best character to lock down people with now.
she definitely seems that way.
She
It
seems really good.
and I think honestly, it's mainly from the amount of damage she can actually output.
She does do a lot more damage, and her gun sounds insane too.
Hack went from being very oppressive, from denying people from playing the game, to just doing full on damage. And I think
Hmm.
that's fine, but I don't. I personally, from what I've played so far, and obviously I've only played like a day and a half,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
not a lot. But the 1 second seems a little low for the actual disable, and the damage increase seems way too long.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if they'll do a balance patch at all in this beta, or are they going to just wait for the next beta wave? I feel like that might be something that they do. I don't know if they'll do any hot fixes or patches, because if they have two other beta waves already planned, I imagine that they're
Yeah,
gonna
they're
have.
probably already working hard on the next one.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do anything with this. I think this is how everything's going to be this whole beta. That's how I imagine it. Because they probably already have an idea of the other changes that they're doing, right? And so maybe
Hmm.
these changes are necessary to for what's coming. It's hard to tell. Maybe Sombra's actually really balanced and we don't know. Um,
It's true.
yeah, but she seems really oppressive when you're playing ball or as a tank in general. Sombra feels really oppressive. If she's spamming her hack on a tank and you're playing the tank, that sucks. I will say that. I really don't like playing against Sombra as a tank. Um, I don't see that many Sombras though. I'll be honest, not many people are playing Sombra. I see it occasionally,
I
but she's not a hot pick.
pretty sure it's just pretty stigmatized, and people are like, I'm not gonna play that character because I have bad experiences with that character, so I'm not even gonna
Mm.
bother actually trying to play the 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 new Sombra. But
Do you think the
I mean,
other
because they just
characters
go, oh,
just more appealing?
I don't. They probably just go, oh, it's just an insta win kit. So why do I even need to bother playing it?
I will say I mostly see the new hero Sojourn. That's a hero
I do
that
see a lot of Sojourn,
I
obviously.
love
Obviously,
Sojourn.
people want to play the new character.
She feels a little underwhelming to me. A little underwhelming to me. She has a really fun kit. Her mobility is really fun. Her gun's really
I
fun, but her left click feels really weak. Her right click is the only thing that really does damage. Her left click feels
Yeah,
terrible. It feels like weaker than a Rissa left click. I think it
they
is.
probably were afraid of releasing another character that was way too strong and overtuned on
Mm.
release.
Definitely not super weak, but like, why wouldn't you
Maybe
pick Soldier? You know, Soldier
reduce
is
the
just way
size
better.
of the slow. Reduce the size of the slow.
Yeah, the E is a
Maybe
weird
increase the
ability.
damage of the left click just a tiny bit.
I feel like for her kit, the E is a weird ability. It almost doesn't fit. I mean, in
Yeah,
theory, they're trying to make it so like you can right click easier with it, but I don't know.
I
I
guess.
yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the E on her kit. I think her slide
It
is the
seems as
most
out
fun
of
though.
place as when they gave Orisa Halt. Like, she
Mm,
just fires a green orb that just sucks in everything around it.
yeah. I'm glad that that got changed to her ultimate, basically.
Yeah.
That's how good it is. It's an alt. It's basically her alt now. I do think Sojourn is good. I hope other people are enjoying her. I don't think she's a bad hero, but I definitely feel like, from what I've seen, like Soldier 76 is really strong with this team comp. Like Soldier 76 is way better
Hmm.
and easier to play. So like, why wouldn't you choose Soldier 76?
Increased move speed on Soldier. He can
Oh
just
yeah, with the
reposition
sprint,
so fast.
very hard to kill if he's
Gets in
sprinting
on your
around.
team, runs
Very good
away,
hero. I will say
self
Bastion.
sustain.
I love the Bastion rework. He's not that good though, but he's really, really fun
I
when
think
he
it. Yeah,
works.
I
When
think
he
it's
works, it's great.
definitely right place for him
Oh, it's
because like
perfect
he gets
though.
value. It's
Yeah.
not cheesy value. You're actually playing the character, and then you're actually getting
hmm
value based off your skill. But it's not too overwhelming.
Yeah, that was the problem with Bastion. Bastion had two modes: I'm feeding or I'm unstoppable. And this is just balanced in my opinion because you don't want Bastion to be too OP in this form because it would feel really bad. I think he's in a really good state. I like where he is. I don't want him to be meta. I kind of like him doing a fuck ton of damage just like on a cooldown. And that's a good place
Yeah,
for him. His ultimate's a little weird, but I think it's okay. It's not the best, but I think it shouldn't be the best. I do kind of miss the tank form though. His tank form was fun, but that's okay. He's really good. I've played a lot of Bastion. I would say Bastion for me is actually more fun than Sojourn. Just because when he does have his moving tank form, you can just shred, and I really like that. I do think his sticky bomb is kind of fun. It's not all that great though. It feels weird. I basically just use it to like
yeah. Just to
jump.
reposition. Yeah,
Yeah, I use it for
like at this
jumping.
point, it's like maybe just get rid of the damage and just give you
Like a little
more boost.
mobility. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like to use it before I go into my shift form to kind of give me a little boost because he's
yeah.
slow. He's very slow.
Like doing that is almost kind of like when you had tank form and you would rocket jump with that.
Very similar. And I think that was
That's
something maybe they
probably
were
what they were
going
kind of
for.
looking for. Yeah.
But the problem is I think it's a little people use it and try to stick it to people, but it sucks, right? So
I
it
mean,
does like
yeah, it can be useful for siege, but it's it's
it says it does 130 damage. It does not feel like it to me. It does not feel like 130 damage to me. I
you
don't know
must
if that's
have
right.
to actually be stuck with it.
Yeah, I guess it does no damage unless you actually
Dealing
stick.
up to 130 damage, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It
It just doesn't
probably
feel strong.
just really fades off and
It's nothing like
flash.
Cassidy's grenade feels good. I love Cassidy's grenade. His sticky grenade or whatever, he's infinitely weaker than Flashbang, but it's really
Yeah,
satisfying
I
to watch
haven't
people
noticed
blow
the
up.
nade being oppressive either. Like
It's
it
not. It's not.
definitely feels like it works for him. It gives him that little burst
I
damage
think
that
Cassidy's in a
works
really
with
good
his hammer
spot.
kit.
I thought he was really fun to play. He somehow
I
is
think
weaker, but
it's
more fun.
I think it's hilarious anytime a Cassidy runs up and then rolls into you to throw the nade like he's trying to flash
Yeah. It's
fan.
definitely a muscle memory thing, I think, for a lot of people to roll in, because
Oh
people
yeah.
would always aggressively roll into the flashbang. I will say the fan of the hammer almost feels pointless now to me. Every time I've
Hmm.
used it, I'm like, why am I doing this? Like,
Just
there's
get
like
rid of
no
it.
point. Fan of the
Give
hammer
him a
is,
new ability.
yeah, they buffed it by a lot too, and it's pointless. There's no reason to use it. I've tried using it on tanks, but it still doesn't feel good. I'd rather just like you can headshot the tanks pretty easily. But yeah, I really like Cassidy. I think he's in a good spot. He came out weaker, but yet still more fun. His grenade ability is a lot of fun. Bastion, infinitely more balanced and in the best spot he's ever been in the entire game.
Absolutely.
Sombra feels a little too strong to me, but not a lot of people are playing her. I don't
Hmm.
know how strong she would be. I guess it's very situational, right? Because I haven't gotten hacked by her like at all when I'm playing certain heroes, so I just
Hmm.
she just ignores you. But if you're playing like because I've been playing a lot of Doomfist and Orisa, she always goes for the hack on you. So it's really tough to kind of deal with a hack when you're playing like the tank characters. When I'm playing a support character, I haven't noticed her try to do anything to me. But also, and maybe this is where we do the segue, I haven't been playing support. It's just not fun right now to play support.
I mean, why would
It's
it
not
be? It hasn't been
miserable.
fun to play support for the past 3 years.
It's
I
very
mean, why would
true.
it be fun to play support now? It's
It's
the same
just
exact thing.
I wouldn't say it's miserable. I don't hate it. It's
It's
just
it's
the
just weird because it
same.
seems like the must picks are just go Lucia Moira.
Yeah, it's very odd. Lucio, Moira, Zenyatta feels bad. I really just think the Lucio speed boost is OP. It's not that Lucio is like really good or anything or any
I
different at all. It's just speed boost is better in the 5v5 comp.
Yeah, because it's like DPS are now able to actually apply the pressure onto a tank
Hmm.
instead of it being split by two tanks.
Yeah,
So support like there's no real need to try to sustain long fights. So supports are just more inclined to DPS
I
rather than
think
just sit there and heal.
the pressure aspect is one of the reasons why Moira feels so good. I feel like just throwing any damage orb in a general team fight has
And the
way
range
more
of a right
impact.
click is pretty strong, like long
Yeah,
too.
I feel
Gets
like
people
just
before the team fight even starts.
pressure is the meta, right? If you put speed boost into
If
your
your
team
team
into
can play the
theirs,
game faster and kill the enemy team
that's a
faster,
good way
you
to
win.
put it. That's kind of similar to how card games like Yu-Gi-Oh are played, right? The faster card, the faster deck wins, right? Because they
Now,
set
I
up their
wonder
combo
if that
quicker.
means Rhine will eventually end up being meta. No, no,
Hmm.
Ball might be because
Ball seems
you
good.
can. I can see Ball like Sombra being played a lot.
Yeah. Sombra is definitely a hero that might be a
Ball
must pick
Sombra
against Ball too.
Tracer, and you're just running up on teams.
I'll tell you this, another reason why the supports or at least, Lucio and Speed and all the fast characters also seem better is because of course the lack of CC. Like
That's
for
true.
example, Brig no longer has her stun, which is a good thing. But also that's why
Definitely.
Lucio and Speed Boost is so good because you don't get punished anymore for playing like that. And that's an interesting topic of discussion because it's like, well, what do you do if you're getting aped on, right? Like that's a term used in Apex Legends a lot. They're just aping you. They're just running at you because it
Hmm.
works, right? Because they can't
It
deal with the pressure.
it seems like the solution then relies on the tanks. Like you're relying on, Orisa, Javelin. You're relying on Sigma Rock. You're relying on Roadhog Hook.
I do
You
think
know, you
Sigma Rock is the sleeper pick
Doomfist
here.
Punch. I mean, like it seems like they're trying to put the CC more so reliant on the tanks. Although there is, Anna still has her sleep dart.
Anna does her sleep dart is really good. I do like Anna. However, it just feels like you have to put in a lot more work on Anna. That's where I don't think she's I mean, I don't know. It's so much easier to just play Moira
Yeah,
into it. That's the
it's like
thing.
why play Anna
And
and
you just play
have
Moira.
to you have to give 90, 95 plus percent of your entire skill and maintain that consistency just to do the same thing as Moira, who's like having a bad day, falling asleep, and is just firing orbs down main.
And it works. I do think that I do think Anna's good. It's just why put in so much effort for it when
Yeah,
Moira can
yeah.
do the same shit. I will say that I do think Mercy is really good, and not because of her healing or anything. Resurrect is just as strong as ever. Resurrect has always been a problem in this game, and I'll tell you, there are many times I've played and I'll play tank and I'll have a huge main tank diff moment where I kill the enemy tank, for whatever reason, and Mercy just gets the res off. And because there's a lack of CC, now she gets those reses off even freer than before. And when she
Hmm.
reses a tank in this, dude, oh, it's devastating. Mercy res, very, very hard to deal with now. I don't know how to deal with it other than by going Orisa and hitting her with a javelin. That's like the best solution.
I mean,
Some sort of
anything
ability
that
like that.
requires like half your team or more to specifically coordinate around one singular individual and ability,
Hmm.
it's kind of out of your hands when it comes to just solo queue.
Yeah.
because you can calm all you want, but getting that kind of coordination on certain things like that is
Especially
really
not in
hard to
quick
do.
play. Especially because, of course,
Oh yeah,
it's only quick
especially
play.
not in quick
We
play.
don't have anything other than quick play, so that's kind of the part where it comes in, where it becomes kind of miserable because the games are pretty random. I will say that Mercy, I don't think is a very good hero. I think the rest of her kit kind of sucks, but Resurrect is just a very tilting ability because at the end of the day, it's not like Javelin, it's not like Sleep Dart. Those abilities are really good, but they require you to aim. And that's where I hate
Yeah, you
Resurrect. It doesn't
want
require anything other than
to
pressing
get
E.
what you put in, you want to get out what you put in. But
Yeah.
with like res, it's like I'm putting all this in and I got my reward, and then you just take it away from me, doing
Yeah.
nothing close to what I did to get that.
Yeah. Like, especially, again, it's a tank. Like, if you resurrect a tank, the value of that is just absurd. Um, Especially compared to, like, resurrecting a Symmetra, compared to resurrecting an Orisa. The amount of difference that makes is ridiculous. I
What
really don't like
if
it. I really don't like
what
res
if
right
they
now.
made it so when you res a target, they're only alive for a limited amount of time before they die?
That's actually a really good idea. That's what Wraith King does in Dota 2. That's a really good idea. Make them like a ghost. They
Hmm.
just only, I don't know,
Yeah,
five
just give them
seconds
a
or something.
ghost one. Yeah.
Yeah, they just die
Something
after that.
where they could make what like one single big play in a
Yeah,
fight, maybe if they play well.
get a few shots off maybe. I actually really like that idea. That's a fantastic idea. That is a fantastic idea. Resurrect is not very fun to play against right now.
Because the amount of effort you put in to get a kill
Mhm.
would then be balanced with the amount of effort that that person had to put in to res them for only a fraction of a actual life.
Yeah. I think
They put a fraction of the work in, fraction of the value gain
that
out of it.
could be one of the reasons why Lucio also is really good. I haven't really wanted to play support that much, so I have very few support games. But I would imagine the best counter to Mercy Res is to probably just boop her. That's probably the only real way to do it now, unless you want to try to use your tank cooldowns on it. But
Yeah, you'd have to have tank cooldowns
I feel like
or
Lucio boop was always
using a
pretty good though.
sleep,
Like I remember
but
when I
that's gonna be tough.
It is pretty tough to land a sleep. Sleep is still really good, but I'd like it for other things. Like it's really good against Doomfist whenever he uses
Hmm.
his E. But Lucio Boop was something I always was able to stop reses with in the past, so I think it would remain
Yeah.
consistent with that to a degree.
Oh, what about Brig Flail?
Brig Flail, maybe. It just
Good.
doesn't feel worth playing Brig. I haven't played Brig yet once. I've had no desire to play her. I
Um,
don't know if it's
I've played her
worth.
a little bit, and she does not feel that good because
Mm.
her shield just kind of feels completely useless.
Yeah. I kind of like that she's not a good
It
character, to
blocks
be
like
honest.
no damage, and you'd basically only use it for the move speed, I guess, or like the distance that
It
you
does
cover,
go really
or
far.
just like the
Yeah,
additional
it's true.
damage. But
Her Inspire healing does trigger from the bash now too, which is kind of neat, I guess.
yeah, I guess that's just the main aspect of it is now is just shield bash. You need to
Mm.
use it for some heals.
Oh, another thing that's also interesting about supports is because you have one less player to heal, the ult charge game is a little bit different too, especially for
Hmm.
supports because there's
On
a lot less
top
healing.
of the reduced generation as well.
Hmm. It's very different. It's very different. I do like it. The game is a bit slower now, for sure. It's a
Yes,
much
yes.
slower game. Sometimes I miss the speed, but also I feel like maybe that's also why people are playing Lucio because, like we said before, it just makes the game faster when you play Lucio. Um, I don't know. There's just so much different things happening right now, especially because we're basically giving day one first impressions. It's difficult to give, a week from now what things are going to be like. I don't think are going to be. It's going to be
Oh
completely
yeah,
different probably if
yeah.
we
We
record an
should
episode
definitely
later.
come back and talk about our impressions a week after and just see
Oh,
how,
absolutely.
because I'm sure it's going to drastically change. Like
Very
I can
much.
already tell. Like just day. like starting like a day two, like I like I'm already starting to go, oh, maybe this character is definitely better than I thought before. I don't know how much better, but I could definitely tell some are better than I thought before. Some are a little worse than I thought before. But overall, as of right now, for like DPS, for example,
Hmm.
I feel like all the DPS are balanced.
I think so.
In a sense, I don't think there's really any that are ridiculously OP, like mandatory. You have to have this all the time. Other than
Echo is
Sombra,
a good example.
Sombra needs a little tuning.
Echo is a
She
good
needs to be,
example of a character that was super meta, and she got nerfed finally. By the way, I
yeah, but
love that change.
she's not bad, like at all.
No, no, no. It's just the things about her were just
Yeah,
so oppressive
but I
when you
mean,
had
like
the dupe on a Reinhardt, and that's no longer really an issue.
I'm pretty confident that characters like May, Torbjorn, Junkrat are in a good spot for the kind of kits that they have.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like what they did with Junkrat. They made him more skill shoddy, so you don't just spam. Your grenades are like faster, harder to kind of like I don't know, spam with them, right? You're trying to actually get like demo man pill shots on them. For anybody who plays TF2, you know what I'm talking about. Like that's actually better. Some of the things with it's kind of weird. They like did some weird changes I wasn't expecting. I don't know if you noticed, like they nerfed Tracer's damage. Nobody's talking
They
about that.
that's only for range. It's worded awkwardly, so like
Mhm.
close range, the damage is still fine. It's fall off range is reduced.
Are you sure? Just on my thing on the patch notes, it just
Yeah,
says damage
it says
reduced.
that, but it means for the fall off range
Does
because
it really?
the fall off, yeah, the on the distance, the fall off damage would drop to 6, but
Hmm.
it's 5
Tell you what, I
normally.
haven't seen like anybody play Tracer. There's a lot of heroes nobody's picking right now for a good reason, right? There's a lot of other things that people want to play first, which is kind of interesting to see because you can definitely tell like nobody's playing Symmetra, right? Nobody's playing Torbjorn, nobody. Um, and I will say some of the characters that I feel again, I hate to bring it back to support, but like Zenyatta is something I kind of want to complain about. There's just nothing different there. It sucks to see so little being done to the support class. It already is
I
the
am
least
confident
represented.
the next beta is going to be heavily
I
support
really hope so.
focused.
I really hope so. That's definitely the weakest thing for me right now with Overwatch 2 is
They
the
they
support.
released a DPS and they reworked 2 tanks. I think they're going to rework 2 supports and then introduce the tank.
Will they rework two support? The only thing I could see is if they like take Symmetra and rework her into a support.
Maybe they'll rework Symmetra and release a new support instead.
I would like that. They should do that. They should do that. I would actually really like that because Symmetra is just a terrible, awful hero in the DPS section. It's really unhealthy for the game.
Maybe what they should do is go ahead and release 2 new heroes in the next beta
Nah,
and
they
do
already
one
said
tank and one
they
support.
already said they have one tank
I
hero
know
and
they
one is
won't,
support for two
but they
beta phases.
should.
They should.
That would generate way more hype if they said, "Yeah, we decided to do an additional one for you guys." But they won't.
In
We
a
know they won't.
perfect world.
In a perfect world.
But
Okay.
sadly, this is
Mm.
not a perfect world. I will say Baptiste, I haven't seen much of him. He seems pretty
Still
strong
seeing,
still.
yeah,
Not
rank's still
terrible.
really strong, but
Not terrible, but I think the fact is a lot of people if you're trying to be meta, I think most people are gonna Lucio speed boost brawl, right? Like that's just
yeah.
way too good, and Moira is just so good with that right now. I think one of the other reasons for that is because a lot of heroes don't have very fast ult charge. I think Moira's is still just super fast, even without a tank. You just focus a little bit more on that damage, and you're able to get your coalescence, and it does so much more work on a 5 team comp than 6. A lot of that is because you would have the damage absorbed a lot of the time from the other tanks or whatever like a Zarya. But this time around, the only thing that's going to happen is you're just putting out so much damage. to the DPS and stuff because there's less damage mitigation abilities and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and less CC, so you're not getting your ult interrupted. So there's a lot of factors like that. Like we've discovered, obviously, like Genji and his Dragon Blade are
True.
pretty free right now because if you Nano Blade, nobody's gonna like stun you. Nobody's gonna interrupt you. Lots of things like that. I think Tracer could be really good for that reason too. But I have not seen anybody pick Tracer. But I think she probably just like everybody else, mobility characters are gonna be really good now.
You know, honestly, looking back at Overwatch 1, I'm starting to see it was really evolving into the gameplays based off the tank dynamic, and the support the tanks, and the DPS just kind of are there and try to work with them.
Well,
Whereas
maybe on your
now
games.
this is kind of now focusing a bit more on the tank versus DPS like dynamic.
I do think the
Because
supports
if you
are
have a
definitely flipped out
Genji
there.
on the enemy team and you're like, okay, this guy's being very oppressive, well, maybe let me go Roadhog and hook him and shut him down, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, Roadhog,
Maybe I
I
go
don't know.
Zarya and then I grab him. So
I have
do
noticed
that.
the support. There is a pretty big difference though when the supports are playing like bad support heroes like Zen and stuff like that. You feel it. You feel how bad it is when
The
you're a tank,
Zen
especially.
Brig. Do not
It's
go Zen
bad. Just
Brig.
don't go Brig. Brig's terrible right now. That's the problem, really. If you want to go Zen, that's fine. Just make sure you have like Anna or Mercy or Baptiste. I feel like that would be good. The problem is every time I see a Zen Brig, I just like, oh, I'm going Roadhog. Oh, fuck this. I don't care how bad Roadhog is. I will play Roadhog if I get a Zen Brig. Like it's actually the best move, I think. Just heal yourself. Fuck it.
I don't think Roadhog is unplayable. I think
No, he's
there
he's
are a
not as
few
unplayable.
situations where he is viable.
Yeah, I think the tank
But
passives helped him a lot
going
actually.
back to tanks, at this current state, I don't think there's any reason to not play Orisa
Yeah, she's way too
unless
fun
you know
too.
what you're doing as Ball. I will say
Ball's
that.
really good.
If you know what you're doing as Ball, you can play Ball.
I will say Reinhardt's
Otherwise,
pretty good.
Orisa is probably the go-to.
Reinhardt's not bad, but just map dependent. Obviously, on maps like
Yeah.
King of the Hill
I need to
maps
play
are very
Sig
good for
more,
him.
but I feel like Sig is also pretty strong.
Sig is a definite. I mean, he's basically the same hero. Sigma's always really good. Shield really good still. It got nerfed, but only by like a little bit, right? The only big problem with Sigma is I think his ultimate kind of is meh tier. I always felt like his ultimate was really good against tanks because it did 50% of their health. And now that there's only one tank, I feel like it's kind of meh. I feel like if you use your ultimate on Sigma, it's not going to get as much value as it used to. It's still a good ability though, but it just feels less impactful. But obviously, it's probably more impactful than other things like Roadhog Ultimate feels pretty terrible. Roadhog Ultimate feels like it needs to be reworked. I think that's my number one thing that I would like to see reworked. Not that it's a bad ultimate, I just feel like it could be
Yeah,
way better.
it's designed to really be like what they want to do is for it to just do a lot of damage and just pump in, but that's not what it's good for. What it's good for is like objective control. I'm just gonna push
Hmm.
you all off the point, C9 you, etc. But they never went that route of changing it to be like that, so it just is in an awkward state of, well, what am I supposed to use this for? Because
I
it really
just use it
seems like
on
an only
Orisa.
niche situation.
Yeah. I wait till Orisa's Javelin's gone, and then I just use a full ultimate into her face when she's fortified, and then you just kill her.
It's
It's
really
really
not
good.
useful on push.
Yeah, it depends on the game mode. I guess we should talk a little bit about the game modes. I will say one of the best changes of all time, 2CP being gone is such a fucking amazing change. I love it. The new
Good
push game mode is
riddance.
good. It's a little too early to tell what the hell's going on with the meta on some of these maps,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
like it. It's not bad. It's pretty good.
It's not 2 CP.
It is definitely not
It is
2CP.
a great replacement.
Praise Jeff Kaplan. Miss
First and
you.
foremost, it is a great replacement. So
Very good. Yeah, I
a
think that's
step up.
one of the reasons why I'm enjoying myself so much is these new maps are just,
Not having 2 CP.
oh man, it's actually crazy. I'm noticing, like, when I play the new maps as opposed to the old maps, you can really tell the choke point design on some of the old maps. It's so different compared to the new ones. The new ones have
Mhm.
all these different open areas you can go to, and there's really no choke points that I'm finding. Like, I can't find any oppressive checkpoints to like
Yeah,
bunker
it,
down and
it
anchor
seems like
down at.
there's which is good because how Overwatch 1 maps played like is everybody goes down these like these certain paths, but
Yeah.
then there's like other flanks that just why would you ever go there, you know?
Yeah, they're just a waste of time. Some of the flank routes are really bad on some of them. And you're really noticing it on some maps. Trying to think of like a good example off the top of my head, but I can't even remember the names of the new maps to be honest with you. So I guess I shouldn't. But it's the new maps are just great. There's just the Gladiator, like I don't know. I love the Gladiator map. It's fantastic. The Canada map is really good.
Mhm.
I think it's New York. The New York one is extremely confusing because there's so many different, there's like so many crazy different ways to go on that map. It's so big, it's so wide and open, and yet it doesn't feel oppressive. I wonder if it's because there's not many people playing Widowmaker right now. Because that was the number one reason why so many, what is it, Rialto and Havana, like the
Yeah.
big Widowmaker maps were always so miserable because of how wide open they were. But these new
Yeah,
maps
I've
don't
played
feel.
against a couple. It's pretty annoying. It's
Mm.
actually
I mean, picks are going to be
that
better than ever.
it's actually why I think Genji's not as good as like, someone we know thinks because hit
Hmm.
scan are still really good from really far away.
Yeah,
And
Widowmaker
I
is a great
remember I
example.
just had one game of an Ashe and Widow that was just you just couldn't touch them.
Yeah,
Like you could get some flanks going, but like they get those sights, and it's hard to deal with.
I do think that the snipers getting a pick in 5v5 is extremely brutal too, because a 4v5 is a lot tougher than a 5v6. Um,
Hmm.
Especially if one of those picks is the tank. Woo! That's one of the reasons where I think Mercy is still going to be really good because she just kind of is the best way to fix a mistake that happens. Because other supports are just heal bots right now. Like the supports basically feel like heal bots, whereas in Overwatch 1, they felt like they could peel, right? But peeling doesn't feel like it's a thing anymore. It's very odd that peeling either just isn't happening because it's just random quick play games, or peeling doesn't feel, I don't know, peeling doesn't really
I
feel like
mean,
it's
there is
happening.
no peel. Like the meta is if you aren't with your team going in on the enemy team trying to get those kills,
Hmm.
you're in the wrong spot. There is no peel.
Yeah,
You
there really
shouldn't be
isn't.
all the way in the back. Oh, you're playing Zen and you're slow?
Yeah,
Walk your ass back to spawn and pick a different character.
yeah, that's
That's
what it
why
feels like
Moira
with
and
Zen.
Lucio are so good. It's because they're not healing, they're damaging. And the thing is, that's good.
Moira does way
That's
more
good in
damage
this
than
meta.
Zen. I feel like Zen's in a really weird spot too because I know a lot of people complain about his Discord orb and stuff like that, but like I don't know, that's the whole character, right? Like that's his identity. What do you do with Zenyatta? He is a glass cannon. You don't want him to do too much damage because he's a support, but at the same time, if you look at Moira right now, I'm out. You play Moira. I played a few games of her.
You know
She just
what?
out damages everybody else. It's
What
crazy.
if you gave him infinite ammo,
I like that.
but took the charge up time on his right click, made it take longer to charge up, and made it cool down, like take longer to cool down?
I think those are some nice changes, but I honestly don't think that would make a difference. I mean, in this version of the game, I feel like Zenyatta Glass Cannon, infinite ammo is whatever. His reload speed sucks, but it's really not that big of a deal. I've ran out of ammo a couple of occasions, and it's only really miserable if you got like Tracer on you. But at that point, you really only need to headshot the Tracer anyways. I don't know. It would be nice change, but I don't think that's it's more like a band-aid fix to me. I don't know what you do is with Zenyatta, honestly.
What
I
if
really
you
don't
make
know.
it so line of sight doesn't break? the orbs.
Maybe.
How about that?
I do like the
Because
change in
maybe the
experimental
fact that
that they
it's
had
all
for him.
about going fast, going in, it's constantly breaking line of sight of harmony. I mean, you could also just make
Hmm.
it where line of sight doesn't break harmony orb, you know?
They did have that. That's something he used to have, and they got rid of it. I remember
I
that was
thought
one of
it
the
was he
reasons why
was able to
dive was so good.
discord through shields.
Well, he did have that, but harmony also went on people like forever. I'm pretty sure they got rid of that. That was something early
Well, it
on in the
might need to
game.
make a comeback.
Make it last longer, maybe not forever. I don't know. His healing is pretty bleh. The only time his healing is good is when he ults, right? Like his
Oh,
harmony
I
sucks
know.
until then.
What if they bring in the experimental changes
Yeah, I do like that.
where it applies the
The
different
buffs.
effects?
I do
Yeah.
think that could be really good. You could even do something with Discord Orb where I don't know, maybe this would feel terrible, but maybe get rid of a little bit of the damage on Discord and maybe make it like a little bit of a movement speed slow. Would that feel bad if it's like take
Mm,
away 10% damage and instead give it like 10% movement slow or something?
no, I'd take the damage over the slow.
Really take the damage over that? Yeah, I don't know what else you would do for Discord other than damage that would feel good. Like, what else is there? Like, you have your damage. You can make it maybe like a mortal strike and make them take less healing.
It's tough to say.
I don't know if that would. I don't know. It's tough. I
What if
think,
it just buffs him and gives him a faster attack speed?
yeah, that could be good. I do think Zenyatta should be like the DPS support, and right now that's Moira though. Not only is that, but
Hmm.
Moira also does more healing and more survivability with her shift. Give Zenyatta some sort of survivability thing, maybe. Give him like a new ability. You know that they did an experimental that might be decent. They gave his jump a little bit of a boost so he could jump up high when
Oh
he
yeah,
needed to. Maybe give him something like that. Just give him like a little bit
he
of a
can
longer
apply
jump.
harmony orb to himself.
Hmm. Hmm. Maybe. I don't know. Zenyatta's
There's
in a
so many
weird
things
spot.
that they could try to do.
Yeah.
They just need to do something,
They need to do
and
something for
they've done
supports.
nothing.
We just have to copium. They're
Wait
gonna
and
do
see.
it on the next beta patch with the new support hero, right? Because right now the new support picks, or I mean, at least the support meta, feels pretty boring to me. Um, I'm not excited to play support, and I think everybody in the community feels that way because if you look at the queue times, support is instant queue, and tank and DPS are like 10-minute queues. So I think everybody can basically you can get an answer from that. And I don't it doesn't piss me off though. Like I'm not mad or anything, right? Because I'm having so much fun with the other two roles. I
Hmm.
get it. Why play support when I could play these two roles? And that's coming from
Yeah, there's
someone
just
who's
no
a
reason to.
support main, right? Like I'm a support main, but I don't really want to play support right now. There's nothing new to the role. It still feels exactly the same. Um, it's Overwatch 2 for the tank and DPS players. Like that, it's Overwatch 2 for them. But for the support, it feels like I'm I don't know. I feel like Squidward looking down at SpongeBob and Patrick having fun outside. That's what it feels like as a support player right now. But also like Squidward, I'm just kind of used to
I
it.
mean,
So it doesn't really affect me as much
tanks
as it
are in
might.
Overwatch 2, DPS are in Overwatch 1.5, and supports are in Overwatch 1.01.
Yeah, they're in hot fix. I don't know. It
Yeah, they're
definitely
hot
weird.
faced.
They're a little hot fixed, right? Because I'm not gonna say it's
Yeah,
like
it
nothing
feels
changed.
like the changes
Brigstone
they've done
is
for supports should be on live instead.
yeah, those definitely feel like a live balance patch that could happen.
I guess not instead. They should apply it to both.
Yeah.
Like it should be on live right now because it seems like that minor
Mm.
of a change.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty fun though. I'm really enjoying Overwatch 2. We're honestly, I think we're both probably gonna go play some after this. Um,
Hmm.
I do want to get some changes on support, but we're gonna probably have to wait a month. Hopefully not 2 months for the third beta wave. I'm hoping the support changes are the second beta
I
wave.
am expecting a week or two after the end of this beta, they're going to give us some news about the next beta.
Well, they have another beta drop chance. For those of you who don't know, Overwatch League 2022, when it starts opening weekend on a Sunday, I believe. I forget the exact date. Make sure to Google it. You can get another chance to get into the Overwatch 2 beta by watching it. So make sure to check that out if you haven't, because I know some people that missed it. Unfortunately, it was kind of whack. I hated that like it was
Mhm.
only a 6-hour window or whatever, and you had to watch 4 hours on the middle of a Wednesday.
May 5th.
Some people got jobs, man. We can't do that.
May 5th,
Anyways,
next Thursday,
it's
May
May
5th.
5th. Okay, so May 5th, make sure to watch it.
On another weekday.
Is it weekday? I thought it was on a
Another
Sunday.
weekday.
Really?
No.
Oh
The
man, I thought
first
it was
day
on a
of
Sunday.
Overwatch League, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, that's next Thursday.
Shit, I thought it was on a
Starting
Sunday.
at 2 p.m.
Well,
and it
hopefully everybody can
ends
watch.
at 6:30 p.m.
I don't know, guys.
And
Gotta.
I think that's for Central.
I don't know how some people are able to get into beta access because that does suck for people
Dang,
that are
bro.
at that are busy.
This is literally during the day on a Thursday.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they did it on the weekend, but hey, man. It's free, so I guess you can't complain, right? Like
Yep.
some people can. Actually, that's a good question. Can you get into this beta if you don't own Overwatch 1? Do you think
I
that's a
don't
thing?
believe so. I think you have to
You
I
have to
think
have
that's what they
Overwatch 1.
said. I
Oh,
think you
okay.
have to own it and it has to be installed.
That makes sense. I was kind of curious about that. But yeah, anyways, there's so much to talk about, but this is just our first impressions kind of
Yeah,
stuff,
just
right?
about the
So,
major things.
um,
Everyone 5v5
oh, I
push
gotta say, I love the
afterwards.
scoreboard too. Scoreboard is
Oh, yes, it's
that's how
good.
we
I
know
love knowing
the
that my
results.
Lucio has 200 healing.
Well, Zenyatta in this case. This is how we know how Moira's so good. These scoreboards expose everything. We now
Hmm.
know the reason we're dying. We hit tab, we see low healing on the oh yeah, we know. We look at the death counter. Oh, I know now. You know what I mean? Like it explains
Hmm.
everything. If you're especially as a tank, right? Because as a tank, you're always focused on the front line and the objective and stuff like that. And you're like, what the hell? Why am I
Yeah,
dying?
I
And you
mean,
look at the scoreboard and
it's
you're like,
good
oh,
for.
that's
Yeah,
why.
I mean, it's just data. It's just data,
It's good
and you can
data,
infer things from that. Oh,
very
okay.
much so.
So I see that my supports are inting.
Yeah,
Okay,
my support isn't on Lucio. Oh
I will have to
no.
play around that. Time to go Roadhog. Time to
Yeah,
go
I've
ball.
done that. I've done that. And I'll tell you, literally in King of the Hill, I lose an entire round playing whatever, like Doomfist or something, and I see, "Oh my god, why am I dying? I feel like I shouldn't be dying here." And I look at the
Yeah.
scoreboard, the enemy supports have like 4k healing, both of them. My supports have like 1k and like 3 more deaths than they should. And it's like, "Oh, okay, fuck this. I'm going to play Roadhog." Even though Roadhog is easily the weakest tank, maybe even the weakest
Hmm.
character in the game, if you're solo queuing in quick play, just being able to click E and heal yourself is overpowered when you have bad supports on your team. It's overpowered. I'm
And
telling you,
having one
dude,
of the
it's
few
so good.
CCs in the game is also very
Yeah.
helpful.
Roadhog might be really bad, but I'm telling you, in solo
Very
queue,
niche.
quick
Very
play,
niche.
he's super OP. Because another thing I've noticed when people are playing
Environmentals too, with lack of shields.
I've seen a lot of people like, talk and chat and voice and stuff. And I remember people are like, why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. They're like talking shit to a support player. And he's like, it's an open beta. I just want my flex tickets. I don't care about support. It's boring. I
Hmm.
don't care. I'm throwing. He admitted like he doesn't care. He's not really trying. A lot of these people don't care about the support role. They're just trying to get
Yeah.
their flex tickets in order to priority pass to tank and DPS. And I can't say I blame them. That's how boring support is. When these guys are doing nothing on support, they're just trying to GG go next. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, we need to get
Um,
some custom games in so we can actually get full coordination.
possibly. I kind of wish that
I'd
Gundam
like to see
Evolution
how the
ranked mode
game
would be in
plays
here.
out like that.
I
A
wish they had a
ranked mode
ranked
would
mode in
be
here.
nice, but I feel like we'd still get the same effect of people like, oh, I just want to get my passes, bro.
Well, they could get. Well, maybe. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I do think support's in a bad spot just for my personal experiences. I would love to hear what you guys, who are watching or listening, Comment down
You know
below what you
what?
guys think about it, because
We forgot to mention one thing that is huge.
what's that?
Pinging.
Pinging is really nice. It's hard to get into that habit.
It's that
It's very
yeah,
hard to get into
but
the
it
habit.
is very good. It is very good.
What's your key binding for it?
Middle mouse button.
Like you're pressing it? I use
Yep.
the wheel scroll on it. I like the wheel scroll on it. It's easier while shooting. I kind of was thinking about maybe using the same ping that I use for Apex Legends, which is the F key. But the problem
Yeah.
with the F key is that's my interact button. So if there is a symmetric
Mm,
teleporter, that's what I press normally. But I was
Bind it to
thinking about
scroll wheel.
changing it.
Interact to scroll wheel. Just swap them.
I could. That's a tough one. I might do that. I'm kind of liking the mouse scroll a little bit, but it is a little tough because it depends what character I am, right? And for me, I've been playing a lot of like Orisa, but I can imagine it's different depending on the character. Like if you're playing a character that has a right click and a left click that they use, like Sojourn, for example, and Soldier 76, you want to use your left and right click, then it's kind of difficult to use the middle mouse button sometimes. For me, anyways. But it's not too bad for some
Oh, you know
characters.
what? Now that I'm reading, I didn't notice this, but phase effects actually remove hack.
What's a phase effect?
Moira Fade, Reaper Wraith.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, I have not seen people play Reaper. I think I've seen
I've
like
seen
one Reaper ult.
one person play Reaper, yeah,
I've seen
and it
a single Reaper ult in Overwatch 2.
he was trying his best.
Yeah, it's a weird hero right now. I mean, in theory, it would be decent with Lucio's speed meta, right? But it's very map
I
dependent.
mean, I really suspect Ryan Brawl to be a
Hmm.
pretty decent comp,
With that,
but I
May
also
Reaper might be
expect
good.
Ball Dive to be good.
Yeah, I think Ball is really good. Ball is better than ever, honestly, with less
I mean, I
stuns.
really see Ball Sombra being like two of the most picked characters in
I bet
like the
if you
top
watched a
500.
Ball player like on Twitch.tv, he's probably having a time of his life because like he's not getting stunned. May can't freeze him with
Hmm.
left click. I mean, what's stopping him? Somber hack's the only thing. Somber hack is the only
It's
thing
one
I think.
second.
Yeah, and it's only 1 second. It's the best CC in the game though. Like if
Hmm.
you're getting run over by a ball, which I've had happen to me, what do I do? What do I go? Right? Sombra's the only pick. What are you gonna do? Throw a magnetic bomb from Cassidy? That ain't gonna do shit. I can't think of any DPS pick that I would even choose. May slow from the left click? Maybe? It's not a freeze though, it's just a slow. He'll still get away.
Yeah. Um, Bastion can shred pretty hard with
Bastion
the
can
sentry
shred,
mode.
but he can maybe still get away.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah, you'd have to use your entire ability for that kill.
And another reason why I might get away is because when you do go that form, you're slow. Very slow. Honestly, the
Hmm.
best option is probably to just
Chunk
go
trap.
Soldier and just pump damage, because Soldier is a pumper right now. He
That
pumps
is true.
really hard.
Yeah, just
Soldier's
get
low
your
key
ult
really good.
charge.
Yeah, I think Soldier's probably one of the best DPS right now.
Hmm.
Which is weird. I don't think it's unhealthy for the game. If Soldier is good, I think that's pretty healthy for the game. Like
Oh yeah,
I want Soldier 76 to be good, and I want Symmetra to be bad. That's
and
the
I
good
don't feel
balance.
like I'm just disappearing against soldiers either. Like I feel like if the soldiers like hitting all his shots, like I'm getting shredded, but
Hmm.
it doesn't feel too overwhelming. You
No,
know?
yeah, it doesn't feel that bad, which is good, especially if you're playing tank, because I feel like if you
Yeah.
have a bad tank, it's very noticeable, a tank that like falls under that kind of pressure. But obviously, if you're a decent tank, you're gonna take damage. That's kind of part of the job description, right? You're gonna take damage, and so they're able to stay alive. And I think people are learning that. I think we've seen a lot of people who haven't played Overwatch in fucking years recently. The
Oh
games
yeah.
are just so crazy in quick play for that reason. We just have some chaos. So lots of chaos. So I am really curious to see how our opinions match up a week from now, right? I'm really curious about it. And next episode, maybe we'll try to stay a little bit more focused since we try to be very broad and try to talk about everything in this one. Next episode, let's try to focus on one subject and just get a little bit nitty gritty into the details on it.
Mhm.
I think that'll be good. Maybe we'll do Doomfist or Orisa. We didn't really talk too much about new Doomfist.
I
Maybe that's
think
what we'll do.
maybe just
That'll be good.
talking about the dynamic of 5v5 because we'll probably
Yeah.
have a way better understanding of
Yeah,
it
we're still
by
in the
then.
discovery phase. We're learning quite a bit ourselves. Either way, go out there, play some Overwatch 2, guys. I hope you're enjoying it. Let us know what you're thinking about with the support role, because I think that's the biggest questions right now, in the comments. Anyways, that's it for this episode, guys, and I'll see you next time.
Later.
Peace.